Approximately 191 yards. So approximately 191 yards in here. I would say you use the majority of it because this is the little bit I have left over from the previous ball that I used for the rose and the lily hat. So there you go. So again, it is a finished object because the hat is technically finished. The one hat is technically finished, but I do need to make 2 more. So rose and lily, find the pattern on Ravelry, really stinking adorable. Okay, that's done. So that takes me completely out of all of my finished objects I'm going to show you guys today and into some still on my needles or needs to go back on my needles work. Now, last time you guys probably didn't see my finished object for my driftwood tee. It needs some surgery at the moment, so you guys still aren't going to see it. Sorry. I will tell you, I really like the way it came out. Totally different than what I was thinking. Bamboo yarn, 100% bamboo yarn, stretches a lot. It grows a lot. So, and because I added so many extra inches to get it longer, I mean, I think I added 3 extra inches to it to lengthen it in the torso. It's now a tunic, but it feels amazing. It looks really good, but it just needs some surgery. I wore it 4 or 5 times, and then I threw it in the washing machine, and I pulled it out of the washing machine in the dryer, and I realized, because I was trying to shrink it a little bit, that I dropped, my yarn broke. Somewhere along the line, after 5 wears, some of my yarn broke. I was able to pick up all my stitches and that kind of stuff, but my yarn broke, so it still needs a little bit of surgery. So I'm working on that. It's one of my things I need to finish, but it is a work in progress, but it's like sitting up over here on top of something so I don't drop any more stitches. But there's that. So I do need to fix that before I can ever show you guys that again. I would totally make the driftwood tee again, and I probably will make it again, but I would use a different yarn. Maybe a cotton or something. If I used bamboo again, I would make sure it was a blend of bamboo for this shirt because it's beautiful. And if you're working with lace, gorgeous. But it doesn't have enough spring back. It's bamboo, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew. But it's really great for what it is. It's tunic top, so throw it on with a pair of leggings, and it's perfect. I love the color with it. It's nice, it's washable, it's dryable, it's easy to wear. You throw it on, it's great. Except for the fact that it, yarn broke. Sorry. So you guys can't see that. Now, I don't know, I think I showed you guys the Adele top, at least I wore it a couple of times, and I'm gonna tell you, I still haven't blocked it. My bad. Because after the couple of times I wore it for you guys, I kind of made the decision that I didn't know if I loved it enough to actually continue to wear it. But this is the Adele top. It's actually just a basic, sorry guys, it's not really completely in the screen. And I have hair all over it. But it's really cute, and unfortunately it kind of turned out to be a little bit of a color block, unintentionally. Commercial dyed yarns from the same dye lot, you typically don't have to worry about colors coming out completely different. This one you do. So you guys will actually, I actually have 2 different gray colors in here. So the front and the back, at about the same points, have gray in them. Have a slightly different color gray. Same dye lot, same yarn company, everything. Commercial dyed yarn. So I'm really surprised that it kind of did that. But because of the way of where it hits, and the front and the back both have it, I'm not too concerned about it. But the thing that I did realize, and I don't know if you guys remember this, I did add an I-cord edging to the top of my sleeve because I didn't like the way my sleeve looked. But something I do need to do is I need to add more length to it. To me, most people deal with short shirts and they're fine, where that hits at their waistband of their pants and they're like, woohoo! I don't. I don't like my shirts quite that short. Now I will tell you, in the last few months, I have actually lost quite a bit of weight. Mostly in my stomach and my shoulders and my arms, even though they're all still huge, which is part of the reason why the shirt I'm wearing now is so big. But I still want to like another inch or two at the bottom. So I can't decide if I'm going to do it out of, I have some leftovers. Oops. Don't know where the second one went. But I have some leftovers. I actually have 2 balls about the size. Let me wind it back up here. 2 balls of about that size that are the same, whoops, as I drop stuff everywhere. They're the same gray as this top part here because they came from that top part. So I don't know if I'm gonna use these 2 at the bottom edge to recreate it and say, hey, I kind of did this intentionally. Or I have the same yarn, exact same yarn, but I have it in this like navy blue color. So I don't know which one I'm gonna do yet. I have plenty of this stuff for another project, so if I don't wanna use the navy blue in this, I did another project with it and then I frogged that project, so I wound up with this, you know, I got plenty of it left. I got like 2 balls of it left. So I think I'm gonna wind up using the gray, but I'm actually just gonna pick up the bottom edge. I'm gonna pick up stitches along my edge and knit down about another 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe. And I'm gonna make it longer. So this is actually a whip, but it's not a whip that's on my needles. It's a whip that is off my needles that should go back on my needles. So it's an uncompleted project that I'm really curious as to where that other ball of yarn went. That should be back on my project due to the fact that it's too tiny, you know? So there's that. But this is the Odell top. Otherwise, I really like the pattern. I'm not sure I would do it again. Or if I did it again, I definitely wouldn't do it out of this yarn. This yarn is really thick. You guys are probably wondering what yarn did I use. They don't make this anymore, but it's made out of Rivington. It's not this colorway, but I have this colorway, obviously. And it's recycled jean. And it is a sport weight yarn. And the color you see here is Pebble. I think this was Stone. I think the navy is navy. I don't actually know, but there's 350 yards in here. So fun. The yarn, because it's recycled jean, is really hard wearing. So that's kind of nice. But it's also very heavy. It's very, very heavy. So there's that. Okay, so the next work in progress that I have is actually truly and sincerely a work in progress, and it's still on my needles. I was making the So Vanilla Sock. I can say that again. So Vanilla Socks by Mary Lucas. It's a 2016 pattern. It's free off of Ravelry if anybody wants to go see it. Sorry. I'm actually partway through a heel. So these are my So Vanilla socks so far, and I'm doing 2 at a time because I'm somebody that would have second sock syndrome. So I am doing 2 at a time. This is the back of the sock because you guys can actually see the heel that I'm partway done with. I finished the first heel, but I need to finish the second heel. And the color of this on screen is a little bit lighter than in reality. It's a little brighter than in reality. And it is... Hold on. It's living in some of my lovely Hawaii bags that I got last year when I was actually in Hawaii. Okay. I know the colorway name is Grouse, but I don't know anything else. So it's from Sweet Georgia Yarn. Sweet Georgia. And it is her Tough Love sock. And it's 80% superwash merino wool and 20% nylon. Just to let you guys know. And there's 425 yards in here, and there's 388 meters. It's 115 grams, and the colorway is Grouse. That's Grouse, Grouse. And I actually really like the colorway. This was actually some yarn that I did actually purchase also when I was in Hawaii with the family emergency that we had last year. I actually had to go, and I didn't actually have a project with me. I know, another no. But we went on vacation, and we were just going to be really busy, and I wasn't actually thinking I was going to have time to knit. So I didn't bring a project with me. Or the project I did bring with me was so small, and I actually wound up finishing it. And so I actually had to go find a local yarn store in Hawaii, on Oahu, in Honolulu. There we go. I got the right city and state and all that stuff. And I found this really, really tiny yarn store. I don't remember the name. The lady was really sweet that worked there. I really loved the colorway, so I went ahead and I bought it. It's at the same time I bought the yarn for my mom's lace shawl that you guys saw when I first started this podcast. I showed you guys that really nice turquoisey teal wave pattern shawl that I made, and then I gifted to my mom. I bought this yarn at the same time, so I decided it's been in my stash a year. I'm gonna use it. So I'm using it. So far, I love the yarn. I think there's a couple of things. I've never actually made a pair of vanilla socks before. This will be my third pair of socks, period. Which is really surprising because I actually don't wear socks all that frequently unless I'm going to the gym. And that was the ice maker. Sorry, guys. Really funny. And I don't really wear my nice hand knit socks to the gym. I don't really wear socks otherwise. I mean, I mostly walk around in sandals most days. So even in the middle of winter, I don't wear socks. But I wanted to give it a try, and I wanted to try a vanilla sock. And as it turns out, I don't think this was intended as a self-striping yarn, but based on the number of stitches that I'm using, it kind of is almost a self-striping yarn. I love the way it's turning out. It's not pooling, it's not that kind of stuff. So I'm really enjoying the way the colors are starting to flow. So I really like that part. That part is really awesome. I really love it. The sock pattern's really good if you like vanilla socks. I would increase my toe increases, like up here. My toe increases are literally from this marker right here to the top. I mean, like I have really short toes. Me personally, I have really short toes. So I would honestly increase quicker because you do knit front and back, knit to the end, knit front and back, and then you knit a whole, so you do 4 increases like on each side. And then you do like a whole round of knit. I would just knit front and back, knit front and back, knit front and back, you know, until I got up to a certain number of stitches and then maybe slowed it down a little bit. I have a fairly wide foot, so I did 72 stitches wide. It calls for a size 1 needle in the pattern. I knit extremely tight normally. So I actually was on a size 2 needle. Even though I knit really tight, I would probably go down to a size 1 for a vanilla sock because the pattern, there is no pattern, so it doesn't take up any of the bulk of the yarn. So I would actually go down to a size 1 needle, which means I actually have to buy size 1 needles. So this is not going to be my last pair of socks because I find that for just basic knitting, it's actually really nice because it's just, once you get the toe done, thumbs up. And if I ever figure out heels better or I get better at heels, thumbs up. This one is used, you know, pattern calls for a short row heel, or she also suggests the fish kiss lips heel. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I didn't get the pattern yet for the fish kiss lips heel. So I'm just not very good at heels. This is only my 3rd pair of heels that I've ever done. 2 of them are short row heels, and the 3rd one on the spider socks, I have no idea what they are. I think my spider socks one was much more successful than my short row ones, because the short rows include a wrap and turn. And I've been told that if you knit really tight, that maybe the wrap and turn heel, you guys can't see this, but may not be the heel for you. was how somebody termed it to me that actually makes socks quite frequently. Because if your wrap strangles your stitch, you can sometimes get a gap. But if you don't get it tight enough, you also get a gap. So it's really hard to get that nice little mix in there. But I stuck with the short row heel because the pattern called for a short row heel and they're just for me, so it's not a big deal. But again, I would make another pair of socks. You know, it's not that I'm against making socks. They're kind of mindless for me, and that's kind of nice, and I enjoy that. I would just experiment with other heels. Why not? But again, I would probably go down one needle size. The toe is done with what's called the Turkish cast on. The pattern says you can use Judy's Magic cast on as well. Works just as well. I've heard from other people Judy's Magic cast on was great. So I tried that. I couldn't get it to work. I'm incapable of getting Judy's Magic cast on to cast on a sock. So I think I need somebody else that's done it before to sit with me and do it. It didn't work for me. But I figured out the Turkish cast on pretty simply. I did about 3 times to cast on the first sock, but once I cast on the first sock, I was fine getting the second sock on there. So that was really awesome. Thank you, YouTube, by the way, because I didn't know what Turkish cast on was. Awesome. So if you guys find Judy's Magic cast on to be a little difficult, go ahead and use the Turkish cast on. I found it a lot easier, personally. Not that I'm against Judy's Magic cast on, I just haven't figured it out yet. So, but there's my vanilla socks. Hopefully next time I film a video for you guys, I will actually have these done. And I'm hoping to do it within the next month. So maybe not every week or every other week, but hopefully once a month I'll actually do an update for you guys. Mostly because I find this kind of cathartic. So there we go. So those are my 2 at a time socks living in 2 of my Hawaii bags. So another one of my lovely works in progress is something that you guys have actually seen me working on for months now. And I'm actually a little behind. But if you guys remember, we were doing the Building with Lace shawl. A friend of mine and I were doing the Building with Lace shawl by Michelle Hunter. She is Knit Pearl Hunter. Building with Lace shawl, and it's quite a big book, guys. Like it's quite large. So I strongly suggest getting the pattern. It is a beautiful pattern. Love this pattern. Now I will tell you, October is actually supposed to be the last month for my friend and I. We started this in January, ending it in October, and I'm supposed to be on the border. I have not done September's block yet, but I'm only 6 days behind, and this weekend I plan on catching up. So, I believe you guys were with me. I know you guys saw the first, I'm going to say make sure I'm giving you guys the right side. I was actually going to show you guys the wrong side. So, that right there, or this right here, is all unblocked, by the way. You start with a provisional cast on at the bottom. So that is block number 1. This is block number 2. I actually really enjoyed block number 2, by the way. It is just gorgeous. There's a few like nubs in there almost. I don't know if you guys can actually see that. But really, really enjoyed it. Block number 3, I absolutely despised, but we got through it. I enjoy block number 4, but I will tell you, it's not the best pattern, like it's not the best representation of it until I can get it spread out. I think it's gonna look so much better when it's blocked. So this is April, and I think April was the last block you guys actually saw. So May actually included some beads. So block number 5 included some beads. You guys can see the beads in there. Just a little bit. And I kind of went with beads that weren't necessarily contrasting. Dog hair. But kind of complemented. So they didn't stand out completely. But I really enjoyed block number 5. I would actually like repeat that block like 20 times. I think it's so pretty. block number 6, which would be June for me. See if I can get it kind of spread out just a little bit. It's beautiful, I know. And I will tell you, these like little wraps that are in there are really hard. Like really hard. Because you can't like pull them too tight, and for a really tight knitter, that is hard to do. I apparently need to weave in some ends. So this was July's block, and July's block are circles. And so you got like a circular pattern in there. And in the book, they tell you that it doesn't really come out until you block it. So that's always fun. And then this is August's block. And I found August to be absolutely beautiful. It's got some bobbles in it, and then the, you know, chevron pattern kind of thing. So I really liked August too. That green line is a lifeline in case I screwed up too many times. I will tell you, the block that I ripped out the most, I had 2 blocks that I ripped out the most. The first block that I ripped out the most, the absolute most, was September. Or not September, I'm sorry, March. Was this one here in March. And that's because the yarn overs were double yarn overs, not single yarn overs. And there is actually a mistake in March's block that I'm just going to use yarn to fix it, because I didn't see it until I was like 2 blocks ahead, and I ripped out lifelines that far back. But I, you know, and my friend who's also doing this with me found that this block, between the 2 of us, I think we ripped it out a total of 10 times. It was that bad. I mean, I ripped the entire thing out once. I ripped back, you know, certain sections of them once. It was bad. The second block that I ripped out the most, and I only ripped this out once, was the circles. I messed up a circle partway through the second one here, so I wound up ripping back to my, didn't rip out the whole block, but I put in a lifeline right after the first one, and so I ripped back to that, and I started from there again. So I still need to complete September's block, and the reason why I haven't done that in September was I just didn't have the concentration. Like, I lost my knitting mojo sometime in like July-ish time frame. And when I say I lost it, I mean, I didn't knit for almost 3 weeks. Like, period. I didn't knit for almost 3 weeks. The fact that I got July's block done in July was amazing. And then I kind of was like, everything I've done since then has not required mass amounts of concentration. And the last block is, you're not lace knitting, you're doing knitted lace. And what that means is you're knitting lace on both sides of the fabric, so your fabric becomes reversible. So it's not just purled on one side while you knit, you know, you do the pattern on one side and then you purl the back. No, you gotta knit the pattern on both sides. So I just didn't have the concentration when I got around to finishing up the project. I believe it was my tree-lined hat, my tree-lined beanie. And I was trying to get ready to, you know, work on this one, and I was just like, you know what? I don't have the concentration. So there's that. So I do need to finish September's, and I think I'm going to do it this weekend because I'm actually feeling it this weekend. So that's really good. So there is that. So it's going to be ready to be worked on again, and then I'm hopefully just going to go straight through and finish the border as well at the same time. I have problems starting and stopping projects because I lose the mojo and I lose my attention and things just go bad. But again, building with lace shawl, beautiful project. Her patterns in here are great. Her instructions are amazing, and she has instructional videos that she tells you about in the pattern, which is awesome. Just so you know. Okay, so the last pattern that is actually a work in progress, and if you guys notice, there's 3, well, technically 4 works in progress right now. Maybe 5. I got 5. Whoa. I have 5 works in progress, guys. I never have that many. I'm a very monogamous knitter. That's why the fact that I was only doing one repeat or one block a month for the shawl was so big for me. That was huge for me. I really only knit one project at a time. That's really bad. So I have my driftwood tee that I need to fix. So that's one work in progress. I have the Odell top that I need to add the 2 inches to. That's number 2 work in progress. My shawl is number 3 of my work in progress. My vanilla socks are number 4 of my work in progress. And this would be number 5. And wow, this is about to make me hyperventilate. I don't do well with unfinished projects. I really don't. Okay. Again, most of them are very simplistic fixes. So maybe I'll just spend the weekend and fix everything else, along with doing all my housework that I haven't done in like 3 weeks. I don't know if you guys remember, but in one of the early episodes, I shared a kit that one of my aunts sent me from Etsy, and it was the Plaidaptation Poncho Kit. Oh, not Etsy, Craftsy. I'm sorry, it's from Craftsy, my bad. And it's by Aunt Nina, and it's, again, Plaidaptation Poncho Knitting Kit. And she picked the colorway that's here on the screen, or here on the pattern picture. Now, I will tell you there's a couple of different kits you can order, or you can just order the yarn, or you can use your own yarn. I think you can just buy the pattern, all that fun jazz. Pattern was really easy, really fast, really simple knit, just to let you guys know. I have finished both of the pieces. You actually knit them in 2 rectangles. So rectangle 1, rectangle number 2, wrong side, 2, sorry, rectangle number 2. And again, the colors are showing up a little bit brighter on screen than they actually are in real life. They're a little more muted in real life. So they're a little more earthy. They're not quite as bright. But I do tell you that orange is kind of bright. Yeah, it's not quite as bright. I had to stop because this gray yarn right there is supposed to be used for part of the stripes. I ran out of gray yarn. So in the kit, when they say knit to a certain length, and if you're, you know, 1/8 of an inch shorter than that, because of how you have to end on, like, going on to a right side row, so you have to end with a wrong side row, meaning you knit the wrong side and then you stop and you change colors. So you wind up having to knit 2 rows. Stop at the 1/8 of an inch, just to let you know. You will wind up with enough yarn to finish your project correctly. I actually was like, okay, I'm gonna go, you can go on Craftsy and you can buy more sprightly yarn, which is what came in the kit. You know, for a 100% acrylic yarn, normally I find acrylics to be kind of scratchy and itchy. This one is nice and soft and malleable and very squishy. I like squishy. Squishy. I like saying the word squishy too. Could be why I like finding Nemo so much. Just saying. But I find it to be, you know, it's very soft. It's very nice. It's not harsh on your hands when you're knitting, which I find to be my case with most acrylic yarns that I've ever used. But I find it actually, I mean, for an acrylic, I thought it was really, really nice. It's quite affordable. I could have actually gone out and bought another ball of this gray yarn to finish off the project. And then I realized it was going to cost me like $3. It was like $2.99 or something like that for the ball of yarn. And then it was $6 for the shipping to send me the 1 ball of yarn. So I was like, you know what? That just doesn't make sense. I need it for like 9 stripes because each one of them has 6 and I could get 3 out of the yarn that I already had, which is actually, I had like leftover orange. And so you like do a mixture of the orange and the gray. It was how the pattern showed it. So I did a couple out of the orange and then I was going to do some of the gray. Well, I was like, you know what? Maybe I have a gray in my stash that'll work. It's not 100% the same gray, but it's quite close to the point where I can get away with it. And so I went in my stash and I had this Patton's Classic Wool DK Superwash. And by the way, this is not DK. It's a worsted weight yarn. Sorry. Probably should actually open up the tag here for you guys to actually see. But it's a superwash wool, so at least it's gonna wash the same way as everything else. And yeah, I know it's not 100%. It actually looks, you actually see more of a difference on camera than you do in real life. In real life, it's actually quite a bit closer in color-wise between the gray and the gray the original gray that's actually in here and the gray I used for the plaid striping. But I was like, you know what? Nobody's gonna notice it's not supposed to be that way but me. So I went ahead and I used it. So not too long ago, I had finished, you know, crocheting in the stripe pattern here. So I just need to sew the edges together. So I need to sew it together along the edge. And then I'm gonna put on buttons. The kit does not come with buttons, but they do say you can add buttons. The kit used 5, I think. I've got some really nice, cool, big wooden buttons. I think I've got 3 of them, maybe. So I'm probably only gonna use 3 because of the size of those buttons, but I think it's gonna look really, really great. And once I finish it, so again, this is another whip that can be finished fairly easily. Once I finish it, I'm actually going to wind up gifting this back to my aunt for Christmas. So the same aunt that gifted me the project in the first place, I'm gonna gift it back to her at the end. And say, hey, great, look what you get back. But A, it's her colors. B, she can actually wear it. It'd be very hard for me to wear here in the desert because it's worsted weight. It's very thick and it's very heavy. So anything for myself, I don't use worsted weight anything because it's just too heavy for me. So that is my last work in progress. So I'm really excited about that. So hopefully I'll get that finished this week too. Maybe this weekend. Fun. So I have a couple of projects that are coming up on my needles. I need to complete for my cousin. I am not sure exactly how she wants me to do this, but she asked for a christening blanket, and she wanted like a traditional christening blanket that her and I used that was from my grandmother or somebody in the church knit for my grandmother or something like that, and we can't seem to find it. So I need to come up with a really beautiful lace christening blanket pattern. I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. She hasn't decided what she wants yet, which is going to be really great because she wants it circular and it's lace, and which means it's going to be fingering weight yarn, and it's going to take me a while. But that is coming up. So that's project number 1 that's coming up. That's on my knee. That's going to be coming up pretty soon for me. I'm also going to be I'm going to be participating in a Christmas sock cal that's going on from Stranded Podcast. So I'm going to try to do that. And I want a pair of Christmas socks. I don't know why, but it just sounds like a really great idea. There is